Come on, Mr. Skeleton, go ahead, wreck yourself. There you go. You just wrecked yourself with my shield. There you go. What's up, agents? Zer here, welcome back to the lab. Today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new 1.10 update. We've got a brand new update with a ton of new features, including one of which people have been asking for an incredibly long time. Probably the most important feature added into Bedrock Edition, if I'm being completely honest. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be watching this video mentioning down in the comments that they agree with me. There is a chance that I could be completely wrong, that they have something else that's in this update that they've been wanting a lot more than this. But that's beside the point. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I do want to go ahead and mention, as far as this update is concerned, is the brand new textures. So they've been working on some new textures for pretty much everything in the game. And honestly, from what I've seen, they've looked good. I know for a fact that a lot of the textures they were working on were very controversial. I know that for a fact. I'm not going to even try to deny it. But there are a handful of textures that look pretty good. I'm not going to deny it. Like, for example, the glass. I do not actually have any extra texture packs on. I have the default Minecraft textures on. And this is what glass now looks like. So you can see right through it really easily, which is really nice. One suggestion I would like to potentially make is to allow the edges of glass to be connected. That's just one thing that I would personally recommend, because I think that would make a lot of sense. But other than that, the fact we can now actually see inside of glass, I really do like that a lot. Let me go ahead and go into my creative inventory real quick. I'm not going to go through absolutely everything, so you guys can go ahead and take a look at some stuff yourself. But at the very least, you can tell that there has been a handful of changes to a number of textures. For example, we've got ourselves Totem of Undying has a brand new texture. Potions have a brand new texture as well. As you can tell, some of the other stuff inside here, like the Brewing Sand, new texture as well. I really do like the new Nether Quartz texture. That looks pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. And then, yeah, pretty much goes for, like I said, a majority of all this stuff. I can't necessarily say everything's been changed because I haven't, like, fully double-checked everything. I do know for a fact Cactus has a new texture as well. Have not planted one yet to see what it looks like in-game, but yeah, we have ourselves a new texture. So that's the first change. The next change we're going to be looking at is actually not even really changes, but actually legitimate features in the game. I probably should have said that at the beginning. But yeah, so first off, we're going to look at two new mobs in the game. First off is this cat right here. This is the Jellycat. Now, the Jellycat was given to us during some vote during Minecraft, I think, if I'm remembering this correctly. And this is the winner. And this is the texture of the cat that we have. As you can tell, it's white and gray. And I did technically go ahead and tame it just to make things a little bit easier. But yeah, that's the new cat. We were introduced to cats, and I think it was 1.9. And this guy was not in the game just yet, but now we have them. Next up, we have ourselves the Pillager. Now, the Pillager was in 1.9, however, it was locked behind experimental gameplay, so we really couldn't use it in the normal game. The only problem is that they do not do anything in survival from what I understand, or at the very least, they don't spawn in survival. They are only available in the creative inventory, which is a bit of a bummer. The reason I would like to believe that is because Mojang is still working on the raids for the Village and Pillage update, which is part of the reason why they're probably out. At least that's what I would like to believe. But yeah, this is the spawn egg for them. So yeah, unfortunately, they do not spawn in survival, but you can get them in creative, so that's kind of nice. So let's go ahead and move on to the new crafting recipes in the game. This is actually where things are going to get exciting, especially for one particular item, like I said, and that's this first item right here. This is the shield. This is something that people have been wanting in Bedrock Edition for an incredibly long time, and they have been just kind of putting it off for as long as possible because they couldn't really figure out how to go ahead and do it, but now we have it in the game. And this is the crafting recipe for it. One, ironing it up here, and then a Y shape with planks, and you get yourself a shield. And one thing that I do want to go ahead and mention is that on Java Edition, you can actually customize a shield with a banner. Unfortunately, that is not in the game as of right now. It has been confirmed that they are working on it as of right now, but other than that, not in the game just yet. But at the very least, we have shields now, which is kind of nice. So inside this chest, I have an enchanted shield with the only enchantments that they have available for it: unbreaking and mending. So guess it's not really too big of a surprise. So this is what the shield looks like. As you can tell, it's got the wooden edge on one side, and on the other it's got the little iron armband, which is kind of nice. And anyone who plays Java Edition should know how these work on that version of Minecraft. What you do is you have to go ahead and right click, and you'll go ahead and bring out your shield. However, that is actually not how it works in Bedrock Edition, and the reason behind that, which is actually smart, is because the versions that use touch controls cannot use a right-click option. So instead, the change that they made is you have to go ahead and crouch, which is actually, like I said, a very smart move regarding Mojang's decision. I do like that a lot. And one thing to note is that when you crouch and uncrouch, I guess stand up is what I should technically say, there is a slight delay between it going up and getting it put back on your side. And they can actually go ahead and be put onto your offhand, which is really smart. Obviously, that is kind of like what people expect the offhand to be used for. Now, one thing I do want to go ahead and show off is what happens if you have two shields out at once and you try to use them. I realize that a lot of people aren't probably, actually no one's probably going to want to go ahead and do this because it would be completely pointless. But I figured I'd at least show it off. So let's go ahead and do that. So let me go and go in third person. So if I go ahead and crouch, the one in my offhand is the one that ends up actually getting used, which obviously makes a lot of sense because more often than not, you're going to be in combat and you're going to end up using a sword, maybe potentially a bow, crossbow, something along those lines, which we actually are going to get to crossbows a little bit later, by the way. But yeah, so that's what happens when you do it. It makes a lot of sense because obviously you're going to be using, like I said, sword, bow, something else in your other hand, so I'm not going to complain about that. So now we're going to go ahead and go into the obsidian chamber to go ahead and show it off actually being used. So let's go ahead and open up the obsidian chamber door and go ahead and get our shield out. And as you can tell, got ourselves a skeleton in here who is trying his hardest to go ahead and attack us. And as you can tell, if you aim it correctly, you can go ahead and hit your skeleton opponent, or anything at range for that matter, with your projectiles. And this should actually end up working with shulker projectiles as well, so it's going to be very useful in the end. And so, yeah, like I said, you can get the skeleton to go ahead and attack himself just using your shield. Come on, Mr. Skeleton, go ahead, wreck yourself. There you go. You just wrecked yourself with my shield. There you go. Sucks to be you, I guess. Alright, so that's exactly how you go ahead and use the shield, obviously. Not too hard to figure out all things. Because actually, when we go ahead and switch back into survival, because I do have a reason why I want to go ahead and be in survival. It's just going to be a little bit later. But yeah, so next up we have ourselves a brand new lighting source. This is the lantern. As you can tell, I've got some lanterns in between my crafting recipes, and they can be placed either on the ground or they can be hung off of the bottom of a block, which is actually kind of nice little things considered a bit of an upgrade to the torch, where instead of being placed directly on the ground or potentially on the side of a block, you can now place it on the top of a block, and that's at least helpful. Excuse me, that's at least helpful thing considered. So I do like this a lot. It actually does give a legitimate use to the iron ingots that we got quite a while ago, besides crafting them into an iron ingot. So at least we have a good use for it. It's actually a pretty cool looking light source, I'm not gonna lie. I imagine people are gonna end up using them inside their builds now. Pretty cool. Next up, we have ourselves a brand new inventory block. This is the Loom. This is actually what is being used to make banners now, which is actually pretty nice looking things considered. So let's go ahead and go inside the Loom. So this is what the inside of it looks like. So as you can tell, we can go ahead and select a pattern that we would want to go ahead and use. And this is a really smart update to how crafting banners is done, because I'm sure you guys probably knew before you had to go ahead and go into a crafting table with your banner, get yourself dyes and potentially other materials, and you have to make a very convoluted recipe to go ahead and make and use a ton of resources as far as dyes are concerned. That is no longer necessary. It is 100% simpler and makes you use a lot less materials, which is actually a very smart thing. So let's go ahead and get out myself a white banner, which is obviously what I have. So let's go ahead and get out some random dyes. So like this, there we go. So here's how you would go ahead and use it. It's actually very simple things considered. So let's go ahead and put a banner in right there. And let's say, for example, we want to go ahead and make something black. So we place this in here. And as you can tell, we get ourselves a preview right here of what the banner is going to end up looking like. So we can go ahead and choose pretty much everything in here. And the nice thing about this is that it only consumes one dye, whereas previously, like I said, convoluted recipes, and so you would end up using more than one dye. But here, makes things a whole heck of a lot simpler. So let's go ahead and take this out. Say we put in something red, and we would obviously do the exact same thing. So let's go ahead and make something like this. Go ahead and pull this out, put this in here. Let's go ahead and pull out our red dye, put in our purple, and say what we want to do is do this, and there we go. Got ourselves a nice custom banner. Very simple to go ahead and make. Now, some of you guys might know that there are extra designs that you can go ahead and put inside of the actual banner itself. Just extra patterns, and you may see not only are there none of those in here, but there's also this extra slot right here that you may not know what to do unless you've been watching like tutorials and reviews about the betas for Bedrock Edition and the snapshots for Java Edition. So we're going to go ahead and get straight into that. So first off, you're going to need yourself one of these patterns in order to go ahead and make those additional patterns. And the way you craft it is you first off need yourself a piece of paper and then the extra item that you're going to end up needing to make it. Like, for example, you use a creeper head, you make a creeper charge pattern. The oxide daisy gives you the flower pattern, and then the same goes with the brick to create the brick pattern on the banner. Technically, it's called field mason. The vines make the board indented. The wither skeleton skull makes the skull charge, basically skull and crossbones. And then the enchanted apple is the thing, technically the Mojang logo. So let's go ahead and pull out all of these. So let's go ahead and go back in here. So if I go ahead and throw in a banner right here, and I'm going to go ahead and throw in my black dye right here, and now I go ahead and place in one of these patterns, and as you can tell, this is going to create my creeper face pattern. And by the way, before I go ahead and do this, remember the fact that I'm actually currently in survival mode right now. Keep that in mind. Place our banner in there, our die, and our creeper charge pattern. And we go ahead and craft this. And also, something I have not mentioned yet is that this actually has custom crafting recipes as well. Keep that in mind. I'm like, hold on. I'm just now noticing, okay, so if you have extra patterns inside of your inventory, you can go ahead and swap out, which is actually a smart way to go about doing things. And yeah, like I said, there's actually custom sound effects in here as well, so go ahead and listen. There we go. So yeah, that is actually how you go ahead and make yourself custom banners now. And by the way, remember how I use the creeper charge pattern? Well, again, I'm in survival mode. It did not consume it, so you can use these an infinite amount of times. And also keep in mind they do not stack. So you guys probably know that the creeper head maybe not necessarily hard to get if you know what you're doing, but the thing pattern, which is crafted using the enchanted golden apple, you cannot craft those anymore, meaning that you have to find them out in the wild in chests, and from there you would use them in banners. And now you can use it once, and you have it infinite amount of times. It was actually really awesome. So you need one golden apple, one enchanted golden apple, and you can make infinite Mojang logos on your banners, which is really nice. It's a really smart way to go ahead and use Loom. And something I have not mentioned as of yet is that the Loom actually has some custom textures on its sides, which I'm going to go ahead and quickly show off. So if I go and grab this, place this down here. So yeah, some interesting textures on the side. So it almost looks like a set of drawers, which is actually pretty cool, all things considered. So let's go ahead and come to the other side. We have a brand new set of blocks. This is something that has been in Java for a while, I would like to believe. And it has been available in Bedrock Edition, however, only through specific convoluted commands. And that is these bark blocks. This is the crafting recipe for the bark blocks. You use 4 logs in this recipe and you get 3 bark blocks back. The only problem with this is that they are not actually called bark blocks inside of the inventory. They're just simply called wood. But yeah, this is what they all look like. This is obviously for all the different types of logs, and they have stripped versions as well, so kind of nice, all things considered. Next up, we have another inventory block, although it's kind of up to debate whether or not this is actually an inventory block, all things considered. This is the Lectern, and effectively what the Lectern is, I'm going to go ahead and go back into creative mode. I mean, survival mode, technically. I'm already in creative mode. For just a moment. Because this is what the Lectern does. It allows you to go ahead and put books down and read them. So this is just basically an example that I did. So if I go ahead and put this down, so it says, this is a Lectern. It lets you read books. If it's a book and quill, you cannot edit them. So that's literally all the Lectern does. So if I go ahead and grab this, yeah, I've got my book and quill back. It has the exact same thing inside of it, but I can actually go ahead and edit this in the Lectern. Yeah, you cannot edit it. And it is supposed to have redstone functionality. You're supposed to be able to determine which page you're on using a comparator. That functionality is still being worked on, so redstone people such as myself cannot use that just yet. A bit of a bummer, but it is what it is. Next up, we have ourselves the Crossbow. Now, I have covered the Crossbow before, so I'm not going to go into too much detail in this review, but I'll at least go over the gist of it. So this is the crafting recipe for it. So it is a bit more expensive than that of a regular bow. You do have to obviously get iron and craft yourself a tripwire hook. Unless you're like me and you go fishing, you can get a tripwire hook from fishing. And so yeah, so first off, let's go over the enchantments for it. So we can obviously put unbreaking and mending on it, which is kind of nice. We can also put quick charge on it, which decreases the amount of time it takes to charge the crossbow, because that is one of the downsides to it behind the bow, but this decreases the time. This will actually be faster than charging a regular bow. You have piercing, which means your arrows can go through multiple mobs, and then multi-shot just basically means you fire one projectile and, or at least consume one, and it fires 3 and it spreads out. And the reason why I'm saying projectile is because you can use both arrows and firework rockets as well, which is kind of nice. Now, that's all there is for like the crafting recipes and mobs, but there are a few extra changes I do want to go ahead and go over. So we're going to go ahead and head up to the testing room, and I do have some stuff set up in the vehicle bay over there that we're going to discuss as well. So first off, let's go ahead and discuss this stuff. So we have ourselves a dead bush in here, because dead bushes are actually now a legitimate fuel source inside of furnaces, but they are not very efficient. They will only smelt half of an item, which is, I guess, makes sense. So 2 dead bushes will smelt up 1 item. So we got myself 1 cooked salmon from 2 dead bushes. So there's that. All right, so let's go ahead and put that up. Next up, we have ourselves a brand new feature. So if we go ahead and go inside this dispenser, we have ourselves a pair of shears, and you can obviously tell that there's a sheep in here. You guys probably can see exactly where this is going. So if we go ahead and press this button, as you can tell, the shears used up a little bit of its durability, and the sheep was sheared. So that's actually a really smart, ideal thing considered. That means you can go ahead and potentially make yourself an automatic wool farm, which is kind of cool, things considered. So yeah, next up we have ourselves another well, not technically crossbow. You can do this with a regular bow, but it has to do with specifically chorus flowers. So let me go ahead and charge this crossbow. And what you can do is, if you shoot a chorus flower with an arrow, it'll pop right off. So make it a little bit easier to harvest. So that's actually not too bad, all things considered. So now let's go ahead and go downstairs, and let's go ahead and switch back into creative mode. So here we are. We have a few more features that we're going to go ahead and discuss. And by the way, there are going to be things that I'm going to be leaving out of this video, just simply because I personally don't think they're too terribly important. And also, the changelog will be down in the description so you guys can read the entire list. It's a really long list, by the way, but I'm sure there's something that I'm going to be leaving out of this video. I'm sure you guys are going to be excited about. I'm not going to deny that. So yeah, first off, let's go ahead and go inside this chest. We have some other recipes we want to go ahead and discuss. First off, you can take regular glass panes and dye them now. Before, if you wanted to have stained glass panes, you had to craft the stained glass and then turn them into glass panes, which was a bit annoying, but now we have that. And you can also do the same thing with white carpet as well, to get yourself dyed carpet. Just a little bit of an improvement, all things considered. Go ahead and go into the nether, because there's actually a new feature regarding the nether. It's only a minor feature, all things considered, but it's pretty interesting. I'm not going to deny that. So let's go ahead and go inside. Here we got ourselves a wet sponge. Some of you guys might know where I'm going with this. So if I go ahead and place down a wet sponge in the nether, it's going to go ahead and evaporate into a regular sponge. So pretty simple way to go ahead and dry out your sponges now, although admittedly probably not the most efficient, because obviously that means you have to get the materials to go to the nether first. Alright, so let's go ahead and move on to the last feature that I'm going to go ahead and discuss as far as this video is concerned, and that has to do with specifically decaying leaves. And I went ahead and grew 3 trees to hopefully get this to end up working. And yeah, it already ended up working, but let me go ahead and just break down all these trees. Anyway, I do actually have the random tick speed turned up so that it'll decay a lot faster, by the way. That's actually why they're breaking down as fast as they are. But yeah, if you guys take a look in my inventory, those leaves ended up decaying, and I got myself sticks from them. So I actually ended up getting 3 sticks from breaking down those 3 trees. I don't know what the technique is, but yeah. Decaying leaves, I should technically say, will now drop sticks, which means when you're actually going about breaking down trees, then you may not actually end up needing to go ahead and turn your wood into sticks, although admittedly that is really fast. But you have sticks right off the bat if the leaves decide to go ahead and decay and give you sticks, which actually kind of interesting. Not a very useful feature, although I imagine people will disagree with that, but it's actually pretty cool things considered. I do like that a lot. It makes a lot of sense. It's basically like tree branches breaking off is what I like to believe. But other than that, this is actually where I'm going to go ahead and end off the video. But actually, before I go ahead and I do want to go and mention, this is just simply the stuff in the main game. There are actually changes as far as experimental gameplay features are concerned, and I'm going to be doing a separate video regarding the experimental gameplay features, just simply to make things go a little bit easier. That way, if you guys want to play an experimental gameplay, then you'll be able to see what's going on. But yeah, that's going to be coming out in a future video. But yeah, like I said, this is where I'm going to end things off. So, hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you did, make sure that like button. One more, then make sure that subscribe button for future content. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at AgentCPU0 to stay updated. This has been Zer0's. Thank you guys for watching, and with that, I'll see you guys later.